We now have a moment for a silent prayer. Thank you. You can be seated. Honorable members, I've been informed by the Whippery, and they've agreed that there will be no notice of motion or motions without notice except the motion on the order paper. We now come to the motion on the order paper as printed in the name of the Chief Whip.
Thank you, Deputy Chairperson. I so move.
As there's no speakers list, I shall now put the question that the motion be agreed to as the decision is dealt with in terms of Section 65 of the Constitution. I shall first ascertain whether all delegation heads are present in the chamber to cast their province's votes. Are they? In accordance with Rule 71, I shall first allow provinces the opportunity to make their declaration of vote if they so wish. We shall now proceed to the voting on the question. I hope everybody has logged in. I shall do this in alphabetical order per province. Heads of delegation will vote by pressing in favor, against, or abstain. Eastern Cape, Free State, Gauteng, KwaZulu-Natal, Limpopo, Mpumalanga, Northwest, Western Cape, is it possible to check why the others are not able to use their electronic gadgets? Northern Cape? Or because you always abstain? May I have the record? May I have the record? How many? All provinces have voted in favor. I therefore declare the motion agreed to in terms of Section 65 of the Constitution. Honorable members, I'd like to draw your attention. The Minister for Women, Children and People with Disabilities has apologized, so she won't be coming through. So those questions will have to be answered in writing. Accepted? Thank you. We will now proceed with the question as printed on the question paper, and I'll call the Minister, Corporate Governance and Traditional Affairs. Deputy Minister will answer.
Chairperson, good afternoon. Chairperson, I thank the honourable member for his question, which is both relevant and timely. As honourable members know, the next local government elections will be held in 2016, after national and provincial elections in 2014. All changes in municipal boundaries need to be finalised prior to the national and provincial elections so that the national voters' roll can be segmented according to confirmed and final municipal boundaries. Therefore, all the municipal boundaries must be completed at the beginning of 2013, whereafter the Municipal Demarcation Board will delimit wards for the 2016 local election. The Municipal Demarcation Board conducts its work in terms of the Constitution, the Local Government Municipal Demarcation Act, and the Local Government Municipal Structures Act. Section 155(3)(b) of our Constitution requires national legislation to establish criteria and procedures for the determination of municipal boundaries by an independent authority. The Constitution further provides that such legislation must take into account the need to provide municipal services in an equitable and sustainable manner. Furthermore, Section 157(4)(a) of the Constitution states that the delimitation of wards must be done by an independent authority acting in accordance with the procedures and criteria prescribed by national legislation. The Municipal Demarcation Act guides the MDB in determining municipal boundaries, whilst the delimitation of wards for local elections and capacity assessments of municipalities to perform their functions are covered by the Municipal Structures Act. The Board is at the final stage of redetermining the municipal boundaries, which include possible minor and technical adjustments, consolidation and medium-scale boundary changes, and large-scale amalgamation of two or more municipalities, as well as recategorization of certain municipalities. The pending redetermination of 157 municipal boundaries was published in the relevant provincial gazettes, inviting stakeholders and public to submit objections within 30 days. The closing date for objections is the 16th of September. Thereafter, the Board will consider objections submitted from stakeholders in terms of Section 21 of the Municipal Demarcation Act. The Board will consider all objections received during the objection period and will then either confirm, vary, or withdraw its determination. The Board's final decision in the redemarcation process is scheduled to be gazetted in terms of Section 21(5) of the Municipal Demarcation Act by the 30th of September. The Honourable Member will therefore appreciate that the MDB has not finalised the redetermination and or merging of the Midvaal and Mfuleni municipalities. Honourable Member, any person, including the Minister, may request the Board to provide reasons for its decisions in terms of Section 21 of the Municipal Demarcation Act. And therefore, Honourable Member, I hope that you accept this somewhat long, albeit polite, comprehensive, and hopefully also educative way of saying that the answer to your question is no. I thank you.
Is there a follow-up question?
Thank you, Honourable Chair. Thank you, Minister, for the reply. I would just like to know, with regards to the fact that violent protests against similar proposed mergers have occurred, For instance, Sasolburg, Zamdilia Township, for example. How does Minister plan to prevent a fresh wave of violent protests and damages should these type of proposed mergers between Midvaal and Umfuleni not be withdrawn?
Honourable Member, can you just step down for a second?
Yes, ma'am.
Honourable Donambi.
With due respect to the member, the Deputy Minister is not Minister of Strikes and Protests, so he will not be able to answer that question.
Accepted?
Definitely not, Honourable Chair.
Well, unfortunately, I have to rule you out. Thank you. Honourable Dubier.
Thank you, Honourable Deputy Chairperson. My question to the Deputy Minister, is it Deputy? Sure, doesn't matter. In connection with this merger, and I heard what you were saying on the two municipalities. Now my question is, Honourable Minister, is that are you sure that the process from the demarcation board to consult with the two different areas of communities in connection with this merger, did they go to the different communities, explain to them the boundaries and so on, what actually is on the paper? Are you sure that that process was followed by them?
Honourable de Villiers, there's a point of order being raised by... Okay. Honourable Donambi.
Again, Chairperson, the Municipal Demarcation Board is an independent body which will report to the Minister. So the Minister cannot answer that question because that is an independent body. It's not done by the Department of COGTA.
Thank you. Is there a further question?
Chair, can I address you?
Yes, Honourable Member.
Yes, thank you very much. Chairperson, I'm not asking what the demarcation board is actually coming to report on. What I'm asking to the Minister is do he have the information that the demarcation board went to that communities? Not about them. It's actually what is actually happening in the area of the jurisdiction of the Minister. That's my question.
Honourable de Villiers, you've changed your question.
No, I didn't change it.
You have. I'll ask the deputy to answer.
Yeah. No, Chairperson. I mean, at the risk of seeming of disobeying your ruling, let me touch upon both of the questions that have been asked. I think the first question that we need to ask ourselves is what exactly was the question? The question here was, is the Minister intending to ask the Municipal Demarcation Board at this stage to submit a report on a particular recommendation that it has made, i.e. the merger of Midvaal and Umfuleni? And I think what we're saying is that in terms of the Constitution and the law, the Municipal Demarcation Board is an independent entity. It does its work independently of the executive. When it makes recommendations in terms of the law, there's provision for objections. We are still within that objection period. In fact, the objection period closes on the 16th of September. So any community, any individual that has any problem with any recommendation that has been made by the board still has until the 16th to lodge an objection. It's then the board is then obliged in terms of the law to consider those objections. And on the basis of those objections to either confirm its recommendation, to vary, or to come up with a new recommendation. So all of the questions regarding the potential of protests, the question of consultation, I think at this stage are a little bit premature. Let us allow the process as it's spelt out in the Constitution and in the law to take its course. If once the process is complete and the board announces its findings, as I indicated, it would be open to anyone, including any member of this House, to approach the board to ask for reasons for its decision. And I'm sure that if the members are not satisfied with those reasons, then the relevant recourse would be open to them. But I think really at this stage it would be premature to be asking, especially the executive, to be acting as a spokesperson for an independent body such as the Demarcation Board. Thank you.
Thank you, Deputy Minister. Honourable van Lingen.
Thank you, Deputy Chairperson. May we ask the Minister whether he would agree that the merger between the Midvaal and the other municipality in Fuleni would not shrink the number of councillors, and that could affect service delivery.
Honourable van Lingen, let's not repeat questions, playing around with words. It's one and the same, topic, and the Deputy Minister has just answered. Thank you very much. Take your seat. I heard that. Honourable van Lingen, I heard your remark. And please, be careful. No, I'm not going to argue with you. Thank you very much.
Just want to have a follow-up question.
Time for follow-up questions is over. Thank you. We're limited with time. Secretary will read the first, second, third, and fourth orders. Oh, sorry. Your second question? With due respect, honourable member Sinclair, can you take your seat, please?
On a point of order, Chairperson, in terms of the rules, on each question you allowed 4 supplementary...
But the time is over for follow-ups. Thank you very much. And Deputy Minister...
With due respect, Chairperson, I don't think there's a time allocation to questions.
Honourable Sinclair, I've actually asked you to behave before, and this time, you know your rules. I'm not going to be arguing with you.
No,
and if you feel...
But it's because I know
Honourable
the rules
Sinclair,
that I raised the issues,
if you feel you can't take this, do me a favour, leave the chamber immediately. No. I'm not going to argue with you. The final word, if you're not going to abide by the policies of this room, you are able to walk out. Over to, no wheelchair here. Deputy Minister, you can answer the second question.
Chairperson, thank you very much. The reply to the question is, the reply to the question as to whether in cases where criminal charges of fraud, supply chain management irregularities, tender rigging and public representatives benefiting from municipal tenders have been laid against officials of 1, his department, 2, the provincial, or 3, the local government, such officials are suspended, A, without pay, or B, with full pay in the cases until the cases against them have been resolved. If not, what is the position in this regard? And if so, what are the relevant details in each case? The reply to that is that with regard to the department, there are no cases where criminal charges have been preferred against officials of the Department of Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs. With regard to provincial and local government, we have embarked on a process to gather information with regard to those levels of government. I think the Honourable Member would appreciate that is quite an extensive endeavour, and we hope that once that information has been reported to us, we could come back to the House and give a more elaborate reply. Thank you very much.
Honourable van Lingen.
Thank you, Honourable Deputy Chair. I'm delighted to hear the Minister's response because in the case of a specific municipality in my constituency, we have a situation where criminal charges were laid against the municipal manager and one of the directors. And I have full understanding for the fact that you cannot charge anybody or make them guilty if the proper legal process hasn't been followed. However, in this particular case, there is the investigation is being hampered and state witnesses could be intimidated in the situation. And the question is, does he support suspension in such a case until the case has been resolved? Thank you.
Chairperson, I think it would be unfair of me, it would both be unfair towards me and unfair of me to comment upon a specific matter, the full details of which I'm not appraised. However, I think government policy, general government policy is clear that we are committed to the fight against crime, corruption, that in our departments we maintain a zero tolerance approach towards fraud and corruption, and certainly that in a case where the ongoing presence of someone in a position might either hamper an investigation, both an internal disciplinary investigation as well as a criminal prosecution, or with the continued presence of a person in their position could lead to further damage being done, then certainly taking all of those factors into account, suspension might be warranted. But I'm sorry, I don't think it would be possible for me to take the matter further on the basis of the information that the members provided.
Any further question? Van Lingen?
Thank you, Honourable Deputy Chair. Regarding the Minister, thank you for your view on the previous question. I quite agree with you, and I will furnish you with the necessary situation. Regarding the suspension of the officials in Madibeng in the northwest, where on your recommendation of the 27th of August 2013 about the 21 million rand that's missing, by when do you think the ministerial report will be presented in full at the municipality? Thank you.
Chairperson, I'm quite sure that the Honourable Member would be in full agreement with me if I suggest that that is not a follow-up question, even by the most generous of standards. I think it's certainly something that I would be more than happy to engage with the member with on a one-to-one basis, but I think in no way is that a follow-up to the question that's been posed. Thank you.
Thank you, Minister. Any further questions? Thank you. Can we proceed to the next question? by Honorable Mogobe.
Please, Chairperson, I'm being technologically advanced. It comes with its own challenges.
Okay.
Chairperson, the Department of Cooperative Governance established the Local Government Inspectorate Unit in 2010 to intensify the fight against corruption. The establishment of the inspectorate was not in line with the mandate of the department, which does not have investigative powers. Therefore, it was decided in 2012 to rename the unit the Anti-Corruption Unit. The unit has since engaged the law enforcement agencies, in particular the Directorate of Priority Crime Investigation, DIPSI or the Hawks, and the Special Investigating Unit, the SIU, also known as the Cobras, to establish a close working relationship focusing specifically on the investigation of corruption in municipalities. Flowing out of this agreement, the law enforcement agencies, the Hawks in particular, have established provincial teams to focus specifically on allegations that are referred by the department. This working relationship allows the department to play a coordinating role in gathering information that provides leads and ensures that efforts by the law enforcement agencies are properly directed to hotspot municipalities. The involvement of these agencies is making a huge impact in dealing with corruption. It also allows the department to focus on providing support to municipalities in developing anti-corruption measures and to monitor and analyze trends for the purpose of introducing the required interventions. The joint efforts between the investigating units and the department have improved the coordination of investigations and the facilitation role by creating an enabling environment in which the law enforcement agencies are able to investigate allegations of corruption promptly. By the end of May 2013, there were 745 allegations of corruption involving government officials and members of the public being investigated in municipalities throughout the country, and 403 arrests were made. I thank you.
Thank you. Any follow-up question, Honorable Mogobe?
Honorable Chair, thank you. We welcome the initiative by the Minister. My question, Honorable Minister.
Do me a favor, could you speak? Yeah, your mic. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. We welcome that initiative, Honorable Minister. My question further is whether, in the light of this agreement, you will consider a thorough review and firming up internal anti-corruption control mechanisms, such as policies and staff code of conduct in all municipalities to ensure that we close all loopholes for corrupt practices and incidents. Thank you.
I thank the honourable member for the follow-up question. I can only say that we would agree and that we are working on a continuous basis, both as the Department of Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs, as well as in very close cooperation with other departments in the governance cluster, and in particular the Department of Public Service and Administration, as well as departments within the Justice, Crime Prevention and Security cluster, to firm up the ability of municipalities to investigate fraud and corruption, but also to put in place systemic measures against corruption. Those would include things like putting in place minimum standards for especially senior officials in local government. It would include prohibitions against officials doing business with government departments and other similar measures. But I can only say that we agree with the honourable member. Thank you.
Any follow-up question? Honorable van Lingen.
Thank you, Honourable Deputy Chair. I'm delighted to hear the progress that has been made with the charges and the arrests, and we really have to commend the department on that. But what is of concern is the fact that when a situation gets hot within a municipality, one often finds that the officials resign when the investigation gets hot. Do we actually follow up on a person that has resigned and we carry on with the criminal investigation against those people? And is that part of the 403 arrests? Or do they then stay within the system by just moving on to the next municipality? Thank you, Madam.
Deputy Minister.
No, Chairperson, thank you very much. I think the honourable member asks a very, very important question, because indeed there are instances both at national, provincial as well as local level where public servants who are suspected of wrongdoing resign rather than to face internal disciplinary hearings. And in such a way, they also seek to evade criminal prosecution. Oftentimes, those same civil servants reappear in either another department at the same level of government, or they migrate to a different level. Measures have been considered by Cabinet and will hopefully be promulgated soon, which will close the loopholes there, that would make provision for instances of civil servants who have been charged disciplinarily, whether they undergo the full process or not, to be reported at the appropriate level and for a register to be kept, and for them to be declared ineligible to be re-employed within the public service. So we hope through those and other measures to close the loophole that the honourable member has referred to. Thank you.
Deputy Minister, your next question. By the same.
Chairperson, thank you very much. The answer to the question is yes. The Municipal Infrastructure Support Agent, MISA, established in terms of a presidential proclamation in 2012, that was gazetted in May of 2013, has been providing support to municipalities since its establishment. MISA's support to municipalities aims to ensure that municipalities develop new infrastructure at a faster pace, whilst adhering to the relevant standards for such infrastructure, and to enable them to provide operations and maintenance of existing infrastructure to ensure continuity of service provision. The second major focus of MISA support aims at assisting municipalities to build their internal technical capacity to progressively strengthen their capacity for sustainable infrastructure and service provision in the long term. MISA is currently providing technical capacity support to 107 municipalities throughout the country through a total of 77 technical experts, especially in engineering and planning, assigned to support these municipalities. This list includes 24 district municipalities identified by Cabinet for priority support towards addressing the extremely high levels of backlogs on household access to basic services. Further support is being provided through 25 contracted professional service providers to address specific challenges in relation to infrastructure provision identified during the assessment process. A list of these municipalities is included in the question. It's in the report. It's a fairly long list, and I think we will provide it to the honourable member and to the House. The main focus of the support is on strengthening project management units, planning for bulk water supply, planning for and construction of water schemes, exploration and development of boreholes for water extraction, maintenance and refurbishment of water purification works, and electricity distribution infrastructure, revamping aging infrastructure, land use management systems, asset management, support, complaints management systems, and infrastructure master plans development. Most of the municipalities supported have shown improvement in project implementation, tremendous improvement with respect to the spending of allocated conditional grants, for example, the municipal infrastructure funds, strong focus on infrastructure maintenance and refurbishment and improved planning, amongst other positive results. I thank you.
Honorable Mokgoro, follow-up question?
I'm satisfied, Chairperson.
Thank you. Honorable Mokgoro.
Thank you, Honourable Deputy Chair. To the Honourable Deputy Minister, this municipal infrastructure support agent only spent 41.6% of its allocated budget last year. Therefore, do you think they can be tasked with ensuring professional support to municipalities if they fail to effectively spend their money on ensuring its services are properly delivered to those who need it most? Thank you.
Chairperson, thank you very much. I think the honourable member would have heard me saying that this is an institution that is barely a year old, and already I think its effects are starting to be felt amongst municipalities. We're confident that it is playing a very, very constructive role, as the reply indicated. That is not to say that it cannot be improved, and we are certainly working very hard with the management of MISA to make sure that it does what it's already doing well, even better. Thank you.
Honorable De Villiers.
Thank you, Honourable Deputy Chairperson. Usually we find that in this small municipalities, they don't have the capacity, that is the staff capacity, to deliver on those problems inside the municipality. Can you tell this House, are there some program in place with this special agent to capacitate those municipalities when they are finished with their work and then they withdraw from that municipality, that municipality will be able, the staff, to carry on with the future work? Thank you.
Deputies.
Chairperson, very much. No, I think the reply made that abundantly clear, that in fact the aim of MISA is not only to move into a municipality and to do those things itself, but to develop the local capacity in municipalities to carry on that work on a sustainable basis. That is really the object of the exercise. Thanks.
Deputy Minister, can you give us the answer to the next question? Honourable Sinclair.
Thank you, Deputy Chairperson. Honourable Deputy Minister, there was a program run by the Development Bank of South Africa which assisted municipalities with their technical skills. Is there a relationship between the MISA activity and the activity of the DBSA?
I think the honourable member is referring to the Sienza Manje program of the DBSA. Certainly the work of MISA builds upon and takes further the work that has been done and in some instances continues to be done by DBSA. Thanks.
Deputy Minister, would you answer the following question?
Chairperson, thank you very much. The reply is that the Ministerial Demarcation Task Team has consulted the Gauteng, Limpopo, Free State and Eastern Cape provinces respectively to solicit inputs from community members on the impact of the demarcation process. Further consultation meetings were held with the offices of the Surveyor General and the Auditor General, Statistics South Africa and the Municipal Demarcation Board, the National Planning Commission, as well as the Department of Monitoring and Evaluation in the Presidency. The task team's work has reached a very advanced stage. They have produced an initial draft of their report. However, they've indicated to the Minister that they would require until the end of October to complete that report and to hand it over to the Minister to consider and to take forward. So, yes, the task team has made progress in its work. Secondly, with regard to demarcation-related matters that are still pending and unresolved, we were not 100% sure what matters the member was referring to. If the member was referring to the ongoing work of the Municipal Demarcation Board, then we believe that we have answered that question when we replied to question 104 regarding Midval and Mfuleni, and we indicated the status of the, I think it's 157 proposals that have been made by the Demarcation Board and the processes that will lead to the finalization of those. Thanks.
Thank you. Honorable Mahobi.
Minister, it's not a follow-up question, but a recommendation that there is an ongoing protest on demarcation, in particular in what areas that are complaining to be in the farms, in the cities, in the town. If that could be taken on board by the staff team and later on engage on so that we have a progress on it. Thank you.
Honorable Deputy Minister, your next answer.
Okay. Chairperson, thank you very much. Honourable Member, Chief Whip of the NCOP, we thank you for your very relevant and important question. Your question is particularly relevant given the role of the NCOP as a national forum for public consideration of issues affecting the provinces and also local government. Honourable Member would like to deal with your question in two parts. Firstly, debt owed by municipalities to state entities, and secondly, debt owed by government departments and state entities to municipalities. With regard to the first part, the quantification of intergovernmental debt between municipalities and state entities is performed by National Treasury on an ongoing basis in terms of sections 41 and 71 of the Municipal Finance Management Act. It's government policy that all government departments, municipalities and entities are expected to pay for services rendered to them within a period of 30 days. In terms of section 41 of the Municipal Finance Management Act, National Treasury must monitor payments made by municipalities and municipal entities for bulk resources such as water and electricity. In order for National Treasury to discharge this mandate, each organ of state providing such bulk resources to a municipality must within 15 days after the end of each month furnish the National Treasury with a written statement setting out for each municipality the following information. 1, the amount to be paid by the municipality or municipal entity for such bulk resources for that month and for the financial year up to the end of that month. Secondly, the arrears owing and the age profile of such arrears, and any actions taken by the organ of state to recover arrears. Based on the information obtained from these reports, we can indicate to this House that, 1, the situation with regard to electricity is as follows. As at June 2013, the bulk sale of electricity to all municipalities amounted to 7.375 billion rand. The current debt owed by municipalities to Eskom at the end of June was approximately 7.177 billion. This is an indication that municipalities are servicing their debt to Eskom within the required time frame. Remember that current debt is debt that is due but not yet in arrears. 2, the situation with regard to water is as follows, that at the end of June 2013, the bulk sale of water to municipalities by water boards amounted to 2.6 billion rand. The current debt owed by municipalities to water boards amounted to approximately 1.9 billion, indicating that municipalities were in arrears in the amount of 700 million on a 30 days and beyond basis. Whilst all entities that supply or render a particular service are expected to implement their credit control measures and, where necessary, disconnecting the supply, the Department of Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs encourages all parties to engage in constructive dialogue aimed at resolving disputes concerning debt owed. In this regard, the Minister has discussed this matter with his Cabinet colleagues as well as in the COGTA MINMEC. With regard to the second part of the question, the debt owed by government departments and state entities to municipalities, Section 71(7) of the Municipal Finance Management Act provides that provincial treasuries compile quarterly reports reflecting the state of each municipality and municipal entity's budget, including levels of debt owed to them. According to the Section 71 report published in August of 2013, government's debt amounted to 4.2 billion, or 4.9%, less than 5% of the total 86.9 billion debt owed to municipalities. Of this, 606 million is current debt and 3.2 billion has been owed for over 90 days. In many instances, government departments dispute the amounts that they are billed for by municipalities, and for this reason, the department has encouraged the formation of provincial debt management steering committees to resolve disputed accounts. This has proved to be useful, as reflected by the fact that levels of current debt stand at approximately 600 million. The department also encourages the use of other intergovernmental relation structures, such as the COGTA MINMEC, where this question of intergovernmental debt is a standing agenda item. I thank you.
Honorable Ntonambi, is there a follow-up question?
My question is almost answered, Chair, but there was one part that I didn't get from the Deputy Minister, whether there are any consequences for failure to pay within 30 days. And Chair, it is also clear as a comment that among the 3 spheres of government, each owes each other some money. And can there be some resolution to that as well?
Deputy Minister.
No, Chairperson, I actually did touch upon that, but maybe I touched upon it a little bit lightly and diplomatically. I did say there that it's incumbent upon all of these entities to implement credit control measures, and to implement those credit control measures would mean ultimately, if there's no resolution, to discontinue services. Of course, as a government, we would take all measures at our disposal to avoid that, because the people that would suffer at the end of the day are not the government entities, but the people who use those services. And it's for that reason that we encourage the different entities to engage in dialogue with each other and to resolve those matters. Yes, there are consequences. I mean, there are the consequences of discontinuation, but there's also the consequence of political, how shall we say, pressure for not complying with the 30 days rule. It's something that our president in particular rarely misses an opportunity to pronounce himself on, especially with regard to the payment of small and medium enterprises by government agencies, but also the payment by government generally. Thank you.
Honorable De Villiers.
Thank you, Honorable Deputy Chairperson. My question to the Deputy Minister is, what amount the Department of Cooperative Government, Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs owed to municipalities on a 30-day and also more? What amount? Thank you.
No, Chairperson, that's how shall we say, it's a very good and very relevant question, but I would beg your indulgence to come back to the House on that. I would sincerely hope that we would be able to say, that we would be able to choose one of the letters of the NCOP, maybe the third one. I hope so. Thanks.
Honorable Chane.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, to the Deputy Minister, I just want to understand, because in terms of the figures that you provide, a big chunk, almost 82 billion, is owed to municipalities by private citizens and business. Now, my question is whether or not there's any research that would enable us in future to know as to how much of that accounts for indigenous people and how much of that accounts to those people who are able to pay, and whether the department has got any plans whatsoever to address that particular challenge. Thank you.
Chairperson, thank you very much. I actually deliberately omitted to deal with that matter because the question focused specifically on intergovernmental debt. But out of the amount of 86.9 billion that is owed to municipalities, as I indicated, it's less than 5% that is owed by government or state entities. The rest of that debt is made up of either private individuals or businesses. We are not satisfied with the aggregate data that we have on that question at the moment, and therefore we've indicated that we want the relevant departments and working together with the municipalities to refine and to disaggregate that data so that we can see exactly within that global figure who is owing what, so that we can assist municipalities to develop better and more effective strategies to deal with that matter. Thank you very much.
Honorable Mofokeng.
Thank you, Deputy Chair. Deputy Minister, the intergovernmental debt is a manifestation of administrative failures in various spheres of government, such as lack of skills, poor financial controls, and financial management systems and capacity. I just want to know whether there are processes to improve the financial management capacities of various government departments and municipalities to ensure that we put an end to the intergovernmental debt, and secondly, whether the government is considering set up a time frame for the settlement of intergovernmental debt. Thank you.
Deputy Minister.
Chairperson, I welcome the honourable member's question, and I think certainly when he talks about the need to improve administrative systems and capacity at all levels of government, no one, certainly not us, would disagree with him. However, I think the question of intergovernmental debt has many dimensions that go beyond that. So certainly we do have programs in place to support municipalities, to increase capacity, to improve systems. But when it comes to intergovernmental debt, I think there are other dimensions. And that is the reason why the question of intergovernmental debt is a standing item on the agenda of the COGTA MINMEC. It's a matter that we discuss every time that we meet with the MECs. And that MINMEC includes organized local government in the form of SALGA. I don't think it would be proper for me in this House to reveal how some of the local governments deal with other levels of government in terms of making sure that they pay, but it's quite a robust approach by some of them. But we do discuss those matters in a very cooperative and focused manner. Also, the creation of the provincial debt steering committees really have enabled us in many provinces to bring down those debt levels quite substantially, simply by the different departments and the different spheres of government talking to each other and resolving disputes around monies owed. Thanks.
Honourable Worth.
Thank you, Deputy Chair. To the Deputy Minister, a lot of the debt, as we've heard, is money that is owed by municipalities to various water boards, and I think the figure alluded to was something like 2.6 billion rand. Now, this often leads to disputes which drag on for months, and up to, in certain municipalities, 50% of the water is lost through aging infrastructure. And this leads to big disputes as to what that municipality actually owes. They say, no, we don't owe so much to the water board because that is our consumption. What plans is your department doing, Deputy Minister, to ensure that aging and leaking infrastructure is replaced on a systematical basis, seeing that water is such a scarce resource in this country? Thank you.
Deputy Minister.
Chairperson, thank you very much. I think firstly, the whole question of water infrastructure is a key element of the Outcome 9 delivery agreement that's headed by COGTA and that involves departments such as human settlements and water affairs. In that context, the relevant departments are working to both expand water infrastructure and to maintain existing infrastructure. And then also, as I indicated in question 121, from COGTA's point of view, we've put in place the Municipal Infrastructure Support Agent. A big part of its work revolves exactly around different aspects of water infrastructure. Thank you.
Thank you. The Deputy Minister, thanks very much for availing yourself to answer the questions. We'll now proceed to the questions to the Minister for Public Service and Administration. Welcome.
Thank you very much, Chairperson, and good afternoon to members of the NCOP. Chairperson, with regard to the question from Mr. Honorable Mohopi from Limpopo, we have in the new draft bill, which we hope to pass through Parliament, and we hope that the NCOP will endorse, called the Public Administration Bill, included a ban, a complete ban on public servants doing business with the state. And I want to read to you, for this purpose, the clause that we had initially put into the law, because it will deal with the follow-up of this particular question. For the purpose of this act, family member means a person's spouse, a child, a parent, a brother or sister, whether such relationship results from birth or adoption. And we were informed that this would be unconstitutional. Therefore, as it stands now, our law only covers the public servant himself. We are unable to cover any other aspect of his life, but we have instruments in place to ensure that we are able to cover any loopholes that may ensue from this. The honourable member continues to want to find out what are we doing to ensure that any other instruments that are used to hide the investment of members are in fact made clear. In the Public Service Act, members are required to declare their interests, whether these may be in investment or unit trusts or such like structures. Similarly, in the Public Administration Act, we will be requiring that this declaration be made. Further than that, should any member be part of a tender oversight procedure, we would want to make sure that before they are part of the structure, that they do declare if any members of their family or friends or such like are involved in the processes that they are presiding over. We have established through the law, by the time it is established, an anti-corruption bureau, which will cooperate with other state law enforcement institutions, such as SARS and HAWKS and FIC and SIU, which will allow us some access into the lifestyle of the individuals that we have in the public service. This will make it impossible, we think, in the end, for anybody to hide any assets or any interest that they may have with businesses that are doing business with the state. It is envisaged that through this act, we will provide also a supplementary support to the work that is done by Treasury to actually make sure that the tender processes are simplified, that the tender processes are transparent, that the tender processes actually render better outcomes than they have been in the past. Chairperson, the PEM bill will be coming before you, and this is a very important item that will be in the PEM bill. Thank you.
Follow-up question, Honourable Mogo.
Honourable Chair, I'm satisfied.
Honourable Webb.
Thank you, Honourable Deputy Chair. To the Minister, this proposed Public Administration Management Bill, will it affect the validity of any contracts that have been entered into with businesses once at the time of this bill being passed, thereby enabling the state possibly to recover and retrieve money that has been given to contracts awarded to family members or not in accordance with the public interest?
Chairperson, we will be putting in place transitional arrangements to cover this, because the law is now explicit that public servants may not do business with the state. It never was the intention that they should do business, but it never was part of our laws. So it is not going to be possible for us to penalize anything that might have happened before the law was put in place. However, what we will be doing is scrutinizing whether, in fact, in the disclosures that the members are required to fill in, they did declare that they had interests in particular businesses. Should we discover that, in fact, they did not declare, this will be the responsibility of the Anti-Corruption Bureau to investigate. And yes, we do intend to recover assets, but we will be working closely in cooperation with other law enforcement agencies which have the opportunity and the mandate to recover. We do not have that mandate in the law.
I take it there are no follow-up questions. Then I'll ask the Minister to answer the next question.
Chairperson, is the next question 126? Thank you.
125.
Thank you, Chairperson. The question is from Honorable Mofokeng from the Free State, who wants to know what recommendations that emanate from the performance audit of the Auditor General that is my department dealing with, and what enforcement and appropriate actions the departments are required to fulfill, and what happens to them should they fail to comply. And whether or not we have actually developed and implemented any measures or strategies in this regard. Over the years, Chairperson, the Auditor General has indeed identified a number of loopholes within our laws and the way that we operate. The Public Service Commission itself has identified these, and what we have done is to arrange service level agreements between ourselves and these entities so that we can put in place the necessary arrangement to assist these institutions to help departments to ensure that they do comply. Happily, we have with us here the Minister of DPME, with whom I share this responsibility, and when we're not stepping on each other's toes, we are assisting each other in actually ensuring that perhaps by the end of this year, we will have put in place all the necessary steps and measures to ensure that that the reports are adhered to. We have had a number of engagements with the Auditor General's office, as I have indicated, and we are putting in place the necessary guidelines and the necessary assistance to ensure that where, in fact, this arises from maladministration, we are able to deal with the matter, Chairperson. Thank you. And what happens to any departments that have failed to comply so far? Until we have the necessary instruments in place, we have not taken any action against any departments that fail to comply with this. Thank you.
Any follow-up question, Honorable Mofokeng? Any follow-up question? Honorable DP?
Chairperson, thank you very much. My question to the Honourable Minister is in connection with her response or her answer that at the end of this year, hopefully all measures will be in place to see to that the different municipalities and departments will comply. Now, can you tell us after the completion of that, what or during what time, I think that will be maybe next year, you will provide Parliament and also the NCOP with a report on that situation?
Over to you, Mr.
In terms of the Public Administration Management Bill, which we will be bringing to the House here, we have made provision for what is called the Office of Compliance and Standards. It is this Office of Compliance and Standards whose responsibility it will be to ensure that departments and relevant provinces do comply with relevant legislation and regulation. However, as I indicated, some of the work that we are doing is shared between ourselves and the Department of DPME, and when we have completed our work, which we have started and have done quite extensive work over a number of provinces, it will be possible for us to align our systems, align our regulatory mechanism. And the reason why we are putting it at the end of the year is because we are quite advanced in the work that we are doing. So I am being very optimistic that perhaps by the end of this year, those measures will be put in place, and that those will be the regulatory measures that will be attendant to the public administration bill.
I take it there's no follow-up. Honorable van Lingen.
Thank you, Honourable Deputy Chair. May I ask the Minister, there are so many, according to the Management Performance Assessment tool, the impact, that was released yesterday, that report, 80% of national government departments were non-compliant in service delivery improvement requirements, and 74% were non-compliant with the Department of Public Service and Administration's directive that the organizational structure reflects funded posts only. What is the Minister's strategy to deal with these gross levels of non-compliance to the regulations in public service? Thank you.
Honorable Minister.
So far, the only recourse we have is actually to bring this to the attention of Cabinet and to bring this to the attention of the relevant departments when they are non-compliant with the regulations that are set out. We have not done anything beyond that. But with the establishment of the Office of Standards and Compliance, we are hoping, first of all, to assist these departments to be compliant. Should we find that they resist being compliant, then we will take the necessary steps as required and as afforded us by the law to ensure that they do comply. But at the moment, our first step is to make sure that we assist them that they are compliant through the Office of the Standard and Compliance. Thank you.
Okay. Minister, would you answer to question 126?
Is it the next one now?
Yes.
Chairperson, we are working on measures, as I've indicated, to ensure that the work done by the Auditor General and the Public Service Commission we are in compliance with the recommendations and some of the problems that they are encountering. Normally, the work that is done by the Auditor General is given to the Executive Authority, who is responsible for taking the necessary measures. We've had discussions with the Auditor General, and he feels that most of the problems that he's experiencing comes from the fact that our administrative infrastructure is not as good as it should be, which is why we're trying to strengthen what we're doing now and create the necessary administrative support for all our spheres of government. The primary responsibility, therefore, is with the Executive Authority. What we are doing is supporting, ensuring that the administration within every sphere of government, within every department, is in line with what is required so that they are able to deal with these matters. The experience we have, Chairperson, is that most of these institutions, Chapter 9 and Chapter 10 institutions, actually, because we had intended in the Constitution to protect their independence, report very directly to Parliament and perhaps to the NCOP. The reporting mechanisms to us are not direct. It is only when perhaps they give a report. We are hoping that perhaps as we look into this matter, all of us, we will find a way in which there could be very direct interaction between these Chapter 9 and 10 institutions and the executive authorities so that we can enhance our delivery and enhance some of the issues that they are able to, that they want to point out to us. In relation to the public protector, we have no direct relationship with her either by the law or in any other way, except that when she does have problems of a nature that she thinks might affect us, she does bring this matter to our attention. Through our anti-corruption strategies and through also the establishment of the School of Government, we are hoping that we can create a public administration that is efficient and that adheres to certain norms and standards as laid out in the Constitution. And in relation to the issue of how are we managing corruption-related cases, the bill, as I indicated, provides a very comprehensive response to this. I listened to the Deputy Minister of Corporate Governance indicating how they are dealing with issues of anti-corruption at local government level. And I wanted to write him a note and say that by the time the bill is passed, we will be at hand to assist him. We will be able to assist all layers of government with the capacity that we have to ensure that all cases of corruption within public administration are dealt with expeditiously. One of the members here did indicate their concern around the fact that the public servants find it very easy to move from one sphere of government to another. As soon as they are discovered and there are disciplinary cases that are underway, they jump to the next department or the next level of governance. Within the PEM bill and within the powers of the Anti-Corruption Bureau, we will have a database where all cases of a corrupt misconduct case will be recorded and will be able to trace these people before they are employed anywhere else. We are revamping our employment practices to ensure that before anybody is employed, it is a responsibility of the relevant authority to check if that person's record is clean and if they have no previous cases against them, especially around corruption and any other misconduct-related case. Thank you.
Thanks. Follow-up question, Honorable Matila.
No, thank you, Deputy Chair. I think we're satisfied. We'll be awaiting this particular bill because we think this bill will move in a long way in making sure that we deal with the necessary problems that we find in local government, in government in general, because there are serious problems in government. We just come out of interventions in Mpumalanga, in the Northwest and there are serious challenges there around corruption, maladministration and all that. And we hope this particular bill is going to assist us very well. Thank you, Deputy Chair.
Honorable Member.
Thank you, Honourable Deputy Chairperson, Honourable Minister. I just want to ask if, how long will the people be on the database, if they will be removed later after a certain period of time, or will it be forever? Thank you.
Chairperson, I'm very glad to hear that all of us here await the bill. I have a special request. I know it is very unparliamentary. I await the support from the House for the bill. This is a bill that has been in the pipeline for the last 11 to 12 years. And it promises to answer most of the administrative problems that we have. And we've put them all in there, and we hope that by the time it comes into effect, we will be able to solve all of these problems, Honourable Member, that you're finding in the provinces. And how long will members be on the database? They will be on the database for as long as they are employed by the public service. Thank you.
Honourable van Lingen.
Thank you, Honourable Deputy Chair. I think we all agree with the Minister. We are looking forward to this new bill. According to the norms and standards as laid out that the Minister is talking about and the non-compliance that she has referred to, also the administrative infrastructure that is not good enough and that's been found by herself and the Auditor General, and the administrative support that's going to be given. it's a little bit of concern because administrative support is, in my mind, only good enough if skills are being transferred. But then the question is, the non-compliance, is it caused by the lack of skills and qualifications in the various departments? And if so, what is the minister going to do about it? We can't just continue giving support. We must now start following up and demanding that appointments be made for the correct qualifications for the correct positions. Thank you, Chairperson.
Minister.
Chairperson, the bill answers most of these problems. The member indicates that we cannot continuously be supporting administrative weaknesses because we have a shortage of skills. That is the truth. What the bill seeks to do is to allow the state to use the resources that we have, which is the human resources that we have, and transfer them to where they are most needed. Now, for instance, if we find that the municipal manager at Mbangeni is not coping because he does not have the necessary skills, it would be possible for us to take the DG in the presidency. I thought I'd get a swipe. I thought I'd get a swipe from the minister. It would be possible for us to take a competent DG once he's done with his work and put him in that position so that we can share the skills. Because indeed, a great deal of the problems that we have is because we do not have the requisite skills to deal with what we are required to do, especially at local government level. That is why we are now wanting to make sure that we have this movable resource that is called human beings and human capacity. Sorry, Chairperson. The second question was that.
It's all answered.
Chairperson, the bill will answer all our problems. Thank you very much.
Honorable Sinclair.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, is it envisaged that this public serve or the new bill will then lead to the establishment of one public service?
No, we have moved from what the honourable member is talking about of a single public service bill. What we are now doing is adhering to the Constitution, which requires that we have uniform standards, we have uniform values, we have uniform principles across all spheres of government. This is a central principle that brings about the bill that we have. And out of this, we are hoping that it will be possible for us to have the kind of capacity that we can move across all spheres of government, depending on where there is a weakness that we would like to plug. We are very cognizant of the sensitivity of all three spheres of government for their own particular powers, and we have no intention of interfering with the powers that the provinces or local government have. So in the sense that you are talking about, no. But what it will be providing us is an efficient instrument that will serve the administration of this country under one constitution, which requires that it has certain of all of these elements that are outlined in Section 10. The matter that was raised, Chairperson, if I may take the opportunity by the member, was about what are we doing about the qualifications. We cannot continuously be supporting our people who do not have the requisite skills to do what they are required to do. We have put out a regulatory framework of what qualifications will be required at what level. And these are very clear and sent out to all the provinces and to all departments. But over and above that, we are establishing a school of government which will be compulsory for all of us to attend to ensure that we have a public service that is skilled and efficient and has the necessary ethos of public service. Thank you.
Thank you. Minister, can we go to the next question?
I will have sung for my supper.
1
Chap-
to 7.
1 to 8.
1 to 7. We are answering 1 to 6.
My apologies, Chairperson, I did answer 1 to 7 instead of 1 to 6. Will you allow me to answer 1 to 6 now?
Honorable Matile, was your question answered? Yes, very well. Both of them. Okay,
Both of
can
them.
we go to 1 to 8?
Thank you so much, Thank you so much, Chairperson. I really appreciate that. I would like to confirm that, yes, we are making progress in the rationalizing of organizational structures right across the 2 spheres of government at the moment. Currently, we are finalizing a generic functional structure for sector departments, namely education, social development, and the Office of Premiers. And we are also hoping that perhaps we can go to public works, roads, and transport. These structures are developed as part of the role of the Department of Public Service and Administration to set norms and standards pertaining to organizational structures. The aim is to ensure for a greater degree of consistency in the design of the organizational structures and alignment in the provinces, ensuring that we do not have too much duplication within the mandates that are spread across either the departments or the layers of government. And such generic structures are developed under the leadership of the DPSA and the relevant line function department that we are dealing with. So we develop them with the line function department that we are working on. The provincial departments of such sectors are formally involved also and provide inputs during the developmental phases of such, and they sign off on these structures. And when these structures are in place, the Office of Standards and Compliance does its normal route to ensure that actually we are responding to what has been requested of us. Normally, these structures also serve in MINMEX, and after adoption of these structures, the relevant sector departments are required to align these with other functions within the department. Consultations are underway on changes, and these are delivered almost as promptly as it is possible for us to do this. Again, Chairperson, the PEM bill attends to this matter. Thank you.
Honorable Gnesi, follow-up question?
Thank you, Chair. Chairperson, I think the answer is very clear and I'm satisfied.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Follow-up question?
Honourable Chair, through you to the Honourable Minister, I would at the outset wish to reassure the Minister that any itchiness I might have is not due to a flea infestation. However, and that was said in jest. May I ask the Minister, with regard to the reorganising that she refers to, might this include the rationalisation of departments and the reduction of the number of ministries?
Honourable Minister, please.
Chairperson, I'm disturbed here by my colleagues who are more attracted to the flea infestation than the question, and I completely missed the question. And I needed to say to the honourable member that I did adopt a stray dog once, and it did have a flea infestation. And it behaved very much like an honorable member on the other side, but I haven't seen any of those tendencies here, so I would not associate that with any member here at all. I subsequently adopted the dog. It's called Coco. It's a beautiful dog. It now behaves very well.
Any follow-up question? Honorable van Lingen.
Honourable Chairperson, because of the issue between question 126 and 127, we lost an opportunity to ask another question. And since we're still on the public service and the Minister so rightly said that the bill will address it, I want to just ask the public...
Honorable van Lingen, are you now taking us back?
No, I'm not. I'm just continuing.
Now, is it a follow-up question
Yes.
on the relevant
Yeah,
answer?
yeah.
Thank you.
But it's got nothing to do with fleas and cocoa.
No. No.
The public protector, speaking at Tromsburg in the Free State, spoke about an audit of the manner in which government handles dismissal cases. And does this Minister's department support such an audit? And if so, what are the failings requiring such an audit from the public protector? In other words, will the Minister's new bill cover something like that and an audit for such a situation?
Honorable van Lingen, is that a new... It's not a follow-up question. It's not a follow-up question. Please. I've said it before, let's try and be very attentive when answers are given so that we don't waste time. Is there any follow-up question? Honorable Minister, will you answer the next question?
Thank you very much, Chairperson. The question is from Honorable Nessie of the Eastern Cape, and he wants to know, in view of the planned policy initiatives and envisaged by my department, what progress has been made. The first one, we have a draft policy on the creation and allocation of SMS posts and at provincial administrators. We have revised and reviewed this one. The draft has been completed. It awaits concurrence with Cabinet, and thereafter it will be implemented. The second one is a draft policy on the uniform job grading system in the public service. This one is under revision as well, and we are hoping to hold this back until we have passed the bill because it will have greater relevance thereafter. But we have completed the draft bill and the draft of this, and we are hoping that we will be able to put it through to Labour so that they have an insight into how we are dealing with this matter. Third is a draft directive on consultations, and here we are dealing with a draft revision of the 2006 directives, and these have been completed and they will be delivered to Cabinet. Chairperson, the policies that we are reviewing are in numbers. Would you allow me, Chairperson, therefore, to hand in my report, my response, because all of these have been covered quite comprehensively in this, not unless there are follow-up questions.
Is there any other follow-up question? Honorable Worth.
Thank you, Deputy Chair. To the Honourable Minister, we'd just like to know, with regard to these planned policy initiatives as envisaged, whether there was any opportunity for any public participation, or was there any input from public organisations with regard to any of these envisaged policy planning and changes? Thanks, Deputy.
Over to you, Minister.
Thank you very much. We will be having public consultations, especially where it involves the issue of labor in particular. But most of these policies are policies that we are revising because we have discovered that certain elements in them need to be revised and reviewed. But otherwise, these are policies that actually have been in existence. They're part and parcel of our own policies, and this is what we are revising. In relation to developing new policies, these will be part of the bill, but the ones that I have here are those that we are revising. And we are revising that which already has been in existence. We are trying to make sure that where we find that there are gaps or loopholes, we are solving those gaps and loopholes. And where we are required by law to ensure that there is public participation, we will do so. But otherwise, I think that most of these are requests that come from the House here, that come from Parliament itself, and that we have identified ourselves have got loopholes. But we have no specific plan to put them out there for public comment. Thank you.
Further follow-up question? Feldman.
Thank you, Deputy Chairperson, to the Minister. I don't hope it is out of line, but there are contract workers as well in government. Let's take the public enterprises and so on. How will that affect them, the new bill? Thank you, Minister.
Like public enterprises. Well, we are creating out of the bill a common pool of resources for all South Africans. Should we discover for any reason that anybody who is employed in a state-owned enterprise might be better utilized as a municipal manager somewhere, we would then request that that person be released to go and serve a particular purpose where they are most useful for the administration of the state. The only caveat is that we are required to ensure that we have the consent of the person who is being transferred to any sphere of government or any other entity. If they consent to being transferred, that would be put in place. But otherwise, our emphasis is to assist those that are weakest in the administration by taking from those that have access and those that do not need extra skills in their area. And I'm glad you mentioned the public enterprises, because we will be looting from them quite extensively when the bill is passed. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Minister, for answering your questions. We now National Planning Minister is not in, but we've got the acting, who's Minister Nkwinti, to answer the questions.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Good afternoon, and good afternoon, honorable members. With regard to the Integrated Resource Plan, including its revision, responsibility rests with the Minister for Energy. The process of revising the IRP is currently underway, and officials of the National Planning Commission Secretariat are in discussions with the officials of the Department of Energy on these issues. As noted, the responsibility for the IRP rests with the Minister for Energy, who would be best placed to advise on these issues at the appropriate juncture. In relation to the future of nuclear energy in South Africa, a decision will be taken by Cabinet on the advice of the National Nuclear Energy Executive Coordinating Committee. The National Development Plan makes proposals about costs, financing, and timing risks that need to be properly assessed before any final investment decision is made on new nuclear power stations. It is important to state that there is no new energy plan. The Department of Energy is currently reviewing the Integrated Energy Plan, which will only have official status as our new energy plan after Cabinet has considered and approved it. It may be worth setting the record straight or right. The remit of the National Planning Commission is to undertake independent research to inform future planning decisions. To this end, the NPC commissioned the Energy Research Center at the University of Cape Town to undertake electricity sector modeling using new demand assumptions and updated data on power supply options. This is not a new official energy or electricity plan for South Africa, but rather a set of modeling outputs which indicate possible electricity investment options given certain input assumptions. The results of this modeling exercise were discussed with the Department of Energy. The Minister of Energy will be best placed to provide an update on the process in relation to energy planning. Thank you, Honourable Deputy Chair.
Honourable van Lingen, do you have a follow-up question?
Thank you, Honourable Chairperson. I'm a little bit reluctant to ask a follow-up question because I think it would be unfair to ask the Minister this particular question because all the questions and portions thereof that was coupled to the research has been referred to the Department of Energy. And,
Thank you.
And I would only ask now if Cabinet is taking cognizance of the research or independent research that the National Planning Commission has come up with, because some valid points were made there, such as, for instance, the fact that we don't need nuclear for the next 15 to 20 years. Is Cabinet taking cognizance of that? Thank you.
Honourable van Lingen, at the beginning you said you're not going to ask a question. And then all of a sudden, you're coming with nuclear. Energy, sorry, with energy. Is there a linkage? Is your question? Just take your seat, Honourable
I was going to
Ntonambi.
ask to address you.
Take your seat, Honourable Ntonambi.
Yes, there would be a linkage, but unnecessarily. The question is misplaced at the moment. It should be referred back to the Minister of Energy.
Exactly. Any follow-up questions? Acting Minister, your next question.
Thank you, Honourable Chair. The answer is yes. By virtue of the mandate of the National Planning Commission, the outputs of the Commission are heavily research-driven. In preparing the National Development Plan, we relied extensively on evidence-based research, either commissioned or harvested by the Commission. Particular areas of work, as for example, articulated in Chapter 2 of the plan, which deal with the South African demographics, required highly specialized modeling to be done. The Commission updates its information base using available research in a number of areas. For example, the demographics chapter is being updated using data sets from Census 2011. Particular areas of work now in progress include the Urban Development Framework, the Early Childhood Development Program, and the Education Collaboration Partnership, all of which require an action agenda informed by detailed research, updated on a continuous basis. Similarly, work in respect of youth employment and the appropriate energy mix are parts of the research now underway. In relation to mobilizing support for the NDP, we continue to engage South Africans in all sectors on various aspects of the plan. The NPC has recently finalized its communication strategy to guide its communication program. Elements of this include presenting the NDP in public fora, engaging organizations in different sectors, engaging government departments and in all spheres, distributing copies of the plan to all public libraries and Tusong centers, making better use of social media platforms, as well as media in general. Thank you, Honorable Deputy Chair.
A follow-up question?
Ngiyathokoza mgcini sihlalo ngitsho ngithi ngithokozela umbuzo nokuthi mobilization yenzwa nokuthi nathi siza kuncedisa kuma constituency to mobilize the support. Thank you.
Any further follow-up question? Acting Minister, can you answer the following question?
Thank you, Honorable Deputy Chair. The answer is no. The responsibility for monitoring rests with the Department of Monitoring, or rather of Performance Monitoring and Evaluation, headed by the Honorable Minister Shabani, my colleague sitting next to me here. It is tasked with monitoring all government outputs in relation to set priorities. The National Planning Commission Secretariat and the Department of Performance Monitoring and Evaluation are in the process of drafting a proposed medium-term strategic framework for 2014-2019. This MTSF will incorporate proposals in the National Development Plan and will form the framework for the monitoring to be undertaken by TPME in the next period. In relation to whether departments and other spheres of government are integrating the NDP into their plans, I refer you to a speech I made on the 12th of June in the National Assembly during the budget vote of the presidency. I gave examples of various national and provincial departments as well as local governments that have already included proposals of the National Development Plan in their plans for 2013. This is a process that is continuing to develop as departments and municipalities revise their plans. This House has an important role to play in ensuring that the NDP is included in departmental plans and ultimately implemented. Thank you, Honorable Deputy Chair.
Is there a follow-up question? Any other follow-up question? No? Acting Minister, will you answer the next question?
Thank you very much, Honorable Deputy Chair. The answer is yes. The National Planning Commission engaged with the Ministry and Department of Public Service and Administration, amongst other stakeholders, in the process of refining and finalizing the National Development Plan. In terms of a cabinet decision, consultation is currently taking place on the development of the draft MTSF for 2014 to 2019, which will incorporate proposals contained in the plan. The National Planning Commission will continue to work with departments to clarify proposals to assist with implementation. The capacity and developmental commitment of the state as a critical condition for successful implementation of the NDP is an important aspect of the plan. Amongst the issues that would contribute to building a capable and developmental state, the NDP identifies the need to pay greater attention to skills development and strengthening accountability mechanisms. Chapter 13 of the NDP on building a capable and developmental state provides a set of proposals for how we can improve skills development in the public service. Extensive attention is also given to the steps needed to enhance accountability, both in chapters 13 and 14, which focus on the fight against corruption. The specific issues relating to progress in reskilling officials and the consequences for officials who fail to fulfill their duties would be better addressed to the Minister for Public Service and Administration. Thank you, Honorable Deputy Chair.
Thank you. Honorable Temba.
Motlatsa modula setulo ke leboga go menagane ga gona potso e nngwe gape. Ke a leboga.
Thank you. Next answer. It's now. I'm over. Unfortunately, Honorable Van Lingen, we're finished. I've asked.
But you didn't.
And
lead
you play
way.
this game all the time.
Sorry, Madam Chair.
No, you play the game all the
No,
time
Madam Chair. I
when
put
the
my hand up
time
and you
is
listened to
over.
her.
Okay. All right. Honorable Donna. Yeah.
Chair, there's a convention,
Yes.
so I think we should respect that.
We must
But
respect that. Yes.
Honorable
We can't
Nkwinti
expect him. Yes.
is an acting minister. We must wait for Honorable Manuel to come back and
Exactly.
answer.
Honorable member, please take your seat. We've just explained. Listening is such a special skill. And every member in this house is supposed to actually listen attentively so that we don't commit mistakes. It's been explained to you, and please let's not continue arguing unnecessarily, my honorable member. Thank you. Acting Minister, thanks very much for all the answers you've given thus far. Now we'll proceed. You'll be excused. Now we'll be going to the Minister in Presidency. Question 109.
Thank you, Deputy Chairperson. Consider this answer to be the continuation of the answer which was given by the President yesterday. On the 2nd of August 2013, the Interministerial Committee undertook an oversight visit to Bujanara District Municipality in the Northwest. The IMC visited 4 separate human settlement projects in the 3 priority municipalities of the district as part of the assessing progress on the implementation of the presidential package. The IMC visited Solsport in the Moses Kotane local municipality, Buitekong and Bukamuso in the Rustenburg, as well as Sunway Village in the Madibeng local municipality. Solsport housing project in Mokwase Unit 8 was approved in 2010 for the building of 1,120 fully subsidized houses with a budget allocation of 73.5 million. 700 housing units are in the process of being constructed as part of the upgrading of the informal settlement program. The IMC also visited Boitekong Extension 12, Rental Community Residential Units Project in Rustenburg, which has a budget allocation of 55 million. There are currently 200 community rental units for rental under construction. Construction of Boitekong began ahead of schedule in August and is due to be completed ahead of schedule in March 2014 deadline. The IMC oversight also included a visit to new partnership programs as envisioned in the presidential package between government, communities, labor, and business, with a view to developing sustainable human settlements and vibrant, robust economies in the priority mining districts. The Bukamuso Integrated Housing Project is one such promising venture. The project saw Anglo-American donating land to the Rustenburg local municipality for the purpose of building subsidized housing for community members and mine workers alike. The project has the potential to build 20,000 houses in the long term, with phase 1 targeting 3,600 homes. The MOU for this project has been signed between the government and the social partners, and the target is to ensure 800 houses are built by March 2014. To date, 20 show houses consisting of conventional and alternative technologies, which have been funded by Anglo-American, are complete and ready for occupation. The contractor has been appointed for the civils and top structure construction for the first 800 fully subsidized units. The Sunway Village project in Madibeng is another example of innovation in partnership between Madibeng local municipality and Henik Ferrochrome in an integrated mixed income housing project to the value of 108 million. The project includes the relocation of 500 households from the Dekroan informal settlement, who can utilize the finance-linked individual subsidies in an integrated housing development in an area close to the Hartebeer Sport Dam. Phase 1 of this project will consist of 1,000 fully subsidized units. To date, 708 foundations and 209 wall plates have been completed. The thrust of the efforts by the local municipalities has been the provision of the basic services to improve the lives of the mine workers and the surrounding communities. Concentrated efforts have been made to interact with stakeholders to purchase land for development and for the provision of bulk services. The National Department of Human Settlement has been working with the provincial and local government to ensure that projects that are ready for implementation will be fast-tracked. The challenges that will affect the delivery of sustainable human settlements include the following: lack of bulk infrastructure, that is water, sanitation, roads, and electricity; the need to connect to the sewage plant via privately owned land, and the need to register servitude; inadequate funding for bulk infrastructure, and the need specifically for funding bulk for Sunways and Moinoi projects; lack of capacity at the municipality to manage the human settlement delivery processes and the management of the stock into the future; the availability of appropriate land for human settlement purposes in areas where the informal settlements are located is one of the challenges. On other parts of progress, over and above my reply to the first question, the following should be noted. Discussions with respect to a land availability agreement for Sunway and the Ferrochrome Mining Company are underway. The Northwest Provincial Women Settlement Department has committed to provide funding for the flips and the CRU developments in the Sunway Village development to accommodate the mine workers. The National Department of Human Settlement and LONMIN have begun discussions regarding the management of the processes of human settlement delivery in Marikana. Processes to identify the project pipeline for the rental stock, funding requirements and commitments are underway. Discussions with the Housing Development Agency and the National Urban Redevelopment Construction Agency with regard to the project management assistance are underway. Progress in implementation of the commitments of the prudential package has continued well in 2013. The IMC will ensure the deepening of the Bujanala plan to address catalytic economic development, as well as to ensure rollout to the remaining priority sites, including Klerksdorp, Emalahleni, Sekhukhune, Lephalale, West Rand, and Velkom. The IMC has appointed an interdepartmental team of Directors General to ensure the development of sustainable plans and the speedy addressing of any impediments or blockages to delivery. The Department of Human Settlement has completed developing a framework for the development of human settlement implementation plans. The Department of Cooperative Governance has enlisted the help of the Municipal Infrastructure Support Agency to assess and augment capacity to ensure that the plans are implemented. We are dealing with various challenges. Some of them are the following: the quality of the IDPs and long-term plans, the vertical and horizontal integration of institutional framework, regulatory framework to ensure compliance, commitment of all parties to implementation, maintaining peace in the industrial relations in the mining areas. Government, mining companies, labor, traditional leadership are committed to working together to unblock various challenges that have been identified in the implementation of the various projects. The IMC is pleased that the implementation of the special presidential package is on course and that the lives of mine workers and communities around the mines are being improved for the better. Thank you, Chairperson.
Follow-up question, Honorable Adams.
No, thank you, Chair. I want to thank the Minister for the great response, Chair, but I just wanted to find out from the Minister what measures or strategies have been put in place. For argument's sake, if there are any dragging or the negative attitude of the contractors or the service providers, are there any measures or strategies in place by the IMC to tackle these issues with these service providers? Thank you, Chair.
Yes, like any other normal operation which we engage in, you will find challenges from time to time. But for now, I think the only challenge which we had, that there are two areas, for example, which I think is critical for the House to note. In the project in Bukam, with Tekung, there was a conflict between the main contractor and the subcontractors. The subcontractors, they were saying, no, they were supposed to have been appointed as the main contractors. And we hope those issues are being handled both between ourselves and the district municipality and the local municipality to try and resolve the issues. But the project itself has started, it's on course. We think we'll be able to meet the targets. One of the other areas is the conflicts within communities where you find there's a dispute in traditional leadership or dispute around land. So those issues need to be resolved so that we can be able to access the land, so that we can plug into it. But nevertheless, there is general consensus in terms of how we're going to work. We have not physically moved as a ministerial committee to other areas, but the technical team has been into the other areas. So we're tackling them block by block. I think our next one is either we're going to move to Sekhukhune or Lephalale or to Velkom or Carltonville. I'm not sure how it's going to be structured, but we are going to move very quickly to go to other areas to assess the progress which we are making.
Okay, thank you. Honorable De Villiers.
Thank you, Honorable Deputy Chairperson. My question to the Honorable Minister is in connection with this development. And my understanding is there must be an agreement between your department and also the other role players and also the mine owners on the development, the betterment of the housing situation of mine workers. Now my question to you is, what percentage from those other role players are they actually contribute to your department to carry on and to see that the betterment of these mine workers' housing and other situations concerning mine workers is actually putting you in a place that you can actually carry on and complete your plan? Thank you.
Minister.
You would recall that when this issue started, it started as a discussion between the mines, communities, traditional leaders, government, in the PICC, what we call the Presidential Infrastructure Commission. But because of the volume of work in the Infrastructure Commission, the President decided to remove this part, because of his agency, out of the PICC, and then hand it over to us for me to chair the committee. In that committee, we've got all the stakeholders, the Chamber of Mines, communities from the various areas, traditional leaders, and everybody else. You would recall that Parliament voted money, over 1 billion, at the beginning of the year for this program, which is managed by the Department of Human Settlement. In terms of the mining charter, there is a requirement for mines to contribute towards the social issues around the mining towns. We are negotiating with the mines to get exactly what is it what is due, and so, and that is why some of them are able to contribute land, some of them are supposed to do this. But in their own, some of the mining houses have been building houses for the miners. But we are saying it's not sufficient to build a small town in a village and leave the community which is staying there. And that is why the partnership between government and the mining houses need to be coordinated. If you look at the report, at the answer with regard to the one in the one where we're working with Anglo American, where we hope that ultimately we'll be able to build 20,000 houses. In that area, it will be a mix of what is supposed to be a mining contribution, that is houses for miners and houses for communities, because this one must supposed to be human settlements. And that's why the Department of Human Settlements and municipalities are key, that you don't only build houses, but you need to build all other amenities like schools or clinics or whatever amenities which will be required there. So it's a huge developmental approach which we are doing, but we think we're moving with speed, and hopefully every stakeholder who's supposed to contribute something will be able to contribute. At the moment, we can't say this percentage or that percentage because the projects vary and the size of the workforce in the mines vary and the type of settlements around it vary. But we think we are working very well so far to try and unlock all those things. Thank you.
Thank you. Minister, will you answer the following question?
Okay, thank you very much. That is this one is the answer to question 1110, so that I don't be like my colleague who answered the wrong question. The implementation of the recommendations contained in the Presidential Review Committee report on state-owned enterprises forms part of a broader process of the implementation of the Presidential Review Committee report on state-owned enterprises and entities. The Presidential Review Committee concluded and submitted its report in June 2012, and the report underwent cabinet processes of debate and comments by the cabinet members and was accepted on the 30th of April 2013. The President is still considering the matter and will determine and announce the Interministerial Committee to implement the recommendations as a whole and in line with the Cabinet resolution that it needs to be implemented as recommended, that a Cabinet committee needs to be set up to deal with the matter. Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you. Is there a follow-up question? Okay. Honorable Temba. And you after.
Thank you, Deputy Chair. Having noted that the recommendation of the committee has been presented, can the minister tell us when will the long-term or full implementation be done? But if the minister doesn't have full details, can the minister send the details to the House in due course? Thank you. Over to you, Minister.
I have the full details.
Thank you.
I have the full. The issue is like this. The president appointed the committee which was supposed to look at this matter. I was responsible for managing that process. The committee finished the report presented to the president. The president took the report to cabinet. Cabinet deliberated on the matter. In April, cabinet accepted the recommendations with comments. Part of the recommendations which were made is that a committee need to be appointed, a ministerial committee need to be appointed to manage the implementation. And secondly, that a technical committee need to be appointed to deal with the administrative issues for the implementation. So that is both in the short term and the long term. Because you must understand that we dealt with over 700 state-owned entities across the spheres of government. Some of them are profit-making, some of them are struggling, some of them are listed companies, some of them have got shares in listed companies, and so on and so forth. So the management of that process, you need to be careful so you don't put the state-owned entities into difficulties in terms of the relationships they're building. Now, the process where it is now is that the president will need to decide on the appointment of that committee, interministerial, and also the technical committee. Once that process is in place, then the implementation process will then begin. So that is the next stage and the next phase which is supposed to be done. And the president has not yet, at this point, appointed the two committees to process the report.
Thank you very much, Honourable Minister. Is there any follow-up question? Honourable Khasmin, followed by Honourable Worth.
Thanks very much, Honourable Chair. Central to the challenges raised by the Presidential Review Committee on State Enterprises was the fact that there are challenges with regard to balancing the trade-offs between commercial and non-commercial objectives of state-owned enterprises. But also coupled with this is the poor performance and management of some of these SOEs. In strategic SOEs, such as those providing essential services such as electricity and water, we have seen constant complaints about the interruption of services and sometimes exorbitant fees for services rendered and high salaries for management. The question is whether in light of the findings of the PRC on the proliferation of SOEs to some 715 entities, whether government is considering establishing a national regulatory framework for the management and service standards of the SOEs in South Africa, and whether such a standard will look at streamlining some of these entities with an intention to amalgamating them according to their services. If so, what is the process in this regard? If not, why not? Thanks.
Honourable Minister.
Thank you, Chairperson. As the Honourable Member is saying, that these are the varieties of state-owned entities which perform different functions, different sizes, and different asset base. There are challenges which have been identified. Part of the recommendations is that we need to consider, one, taking those functions which can be performed better in government back to government, and this established some of them. Two, that for those who are not profit-making or those who are not sustainable on their own, that depending on the fiscus all the time, to consider as to whether another mechanism of managing them or performing the function could not be looked at. Amongst others is the regulatory framework. Most of them are established in terms of legislation. Each and every one of them has got its own legislation. Different appointment mechanism, different funding mechanism, different structures, different appointment of the boards and the CEOs and this and this. The question was raised as to whether we do not want to rationalize for state entities in terms of their categories, whether to rationalize the mechanism or the manner in which the boards and the CEOs and the management are appointed. Now, those are some of the things which the committee will have to, the implementation committee will have to go into. Because you can't say yes or no now to those until you get into to discuss the details and the fundamentals of how these state entities are actually operating. So you are correct, Honorable Member, that those are some of the issues which will be considered in going forward as to what do we do with state entities which must be doing almost similar work. Some of these entities, you must remember, they are national, there are those who are provincial, there are those who are local. And you have to deal with the issues within the context of the intergovernmental relations and the cooperative governance between the spheres of government. So you have to go through all those legal issues to be able to make sure that at least even when we rationalize, you don't disadvantage municipalities or provinces, or sometimes disadvantage a function which nevertheless was supposed to be performed by one department but is being performed by one department. So those are the issues which the committee is going to look at.
Thank you very much, Honourable Minister. Honourable Worth.
Thanks, Chair. I'd just like to know to the Minister, and forgive me my ignorance on this because I have got no insight into these recommendations on the state-owned enterprises. How wide were the consultations done for the inputs into the recommendations on certain state enterprise companies? Was business consulted, private enterprise, recommendations from the public? What sort of inputs were put into the final recommendations? Thanks.
Minister.
Chairperson, I wouldn't offhand know the list of those who have been consulted. But I can guarantee you that the consultations were very wide. Firstly, there was benchmarking to do a comparative study with other countries. Quite a number of countries have been looked at to look at how they are managing the issues of state enterprises and how they manage all those issues. Secondly, internally, there was a wide range of consultations with stakeholders, labor, political organizations, institutions like universities, business institutions, and individuals who are supposed to who felt they need to make a contribution. So there was quite a long range of consultation. It should be in the report, which is here, so I can leave the report with you. You can find all the details in it as to who else was consulted. I think they should be having a list of all people who have been consulted. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much. That was the last question last follow-up question for question 110. Therefore, can we continue with question 111? Honourable Minister.
This is question 111. It should be noted that the MPAD 2011-2012 only reported on the results of self-assessments. The moderation process was not piloted in 2011-2012, and the moderated results were not produced. The degree to which the results from 2012 to 2013 can be compared to the results of 2011-2012 is therefore limited. The moderated 2012-2013 assessments results provide a baseline for year-on-year comparisons, which will be made in future. Nonetheless, a comparison between the MPAD 2012-2013 moderated results and the MPAD 2011-2012 self-assessment results can be provided. In terms of scores for both management, strategic management and financial management improved between the 2 years. These improvements could be the results of increased awareness of compliance requirements following the 2011-2012 MPET assessments. The Department of Performance Monitoring and Evaluation also presented the results of the 2011-2012 assessment to Cabinet and the various provincial executive councils. This was instrumental in ensuring that the executive, in many instances, gave more focus and attention to monitoring improvements in basic management and administration. In a number of provinces, the offices of the Premier coordinated the development and monitoring of the improvement plans. At national level, the Forum for South African Directors General actively monitored compliance to certain management and administrative issues. At an oversight level, the Department of Performance Monitoring and Evaluation also presented results to some portfolio committees in Parliament, which required departments to present improvement plans to them. The audit outcomes of national and provincial departments have not improved significantly to date. Many departments have, however, implemented improvement plans based on their MPET assessments and audit findings for 2012-2013. This will have a positive impact on the next round of scores of the MPET results and audit findings. I thank you.
Thank you very much, Honourable Minister. Is there any follow-up question? In the absence of any, then we shall. Is that a supplementary question? Now you must raise your head, not your body. I thought you were leaving the chamber. Nevertheless, you may proceed.
Yeah. Okay, thanks, Chairperson. I understand that these assessments are to evaluate government performance by departments to deliver services in relation to general management, administration, and financial management, among other things. If this understanding is correct, this assessment will also reflect the performance of those relevant officials responsible for those government responsibilities or functions. Now, Honourable Minister, do your department expect relevant departments to also use the assessment outcomes for the annual performance appraisals of those officials and possible end-of-year bonus payments? Is that what your department expects?
Honourable Minister.
Honourable Member, you are spot on. The current performance agreements which exist between officials and departments is not adequate to hold officials accountable. It's not adequate for us to be able to improve where we are not moving. And that is why you would find somebody having a disclaimer but still get a performance bonus in audit outcomes. For the first time, this system is able to tell us where the problem is. In the past, we just knew that there's a problem in the department, but nobody could tell exactly what the problem is. For the first time, we can tell you on all the 156 departments, both provincial and national, that this is where the problem is. And that, in our view, will have to be factored in, will know when you have to draft a performance agreement, you would know to know what are the issues which need to be included so that if people are not performing properly, it's easier for you to take action rather than to be speculating. The information which we have, we're not speculating because, as we said, the process, they start by doing their own assessment. You sit down as a management, as a team, we give you a set of questions, you go through those questions, you score yourselves, and we say produce evidence. We then take it to the audit committee of that department or institution for them to verify this information. We then establish a panel of officials from various departments who then we take one officials from this department to another one to go and check what has been audited. We then do a moderation through an independent panel. We then get outside institutions. At the moment, we are working with West University and one other institution to do a review and to look at the stats and analyze the results and tell us what does it tell us. So it's a very thorough and rigorous process. But for officials, it's very short. You take about 4 hours, you are done. And that is why we think that system will help us to make sure that everybody who's working at a particular station should be able to respond positive. And we think in some few years we'll be able to improve. In the country which we have been working very closely in this regard, there are quite a number of countries who are doing it, but we are doing it different. But most of them, they say it took them about 3 to 4 years to perfect the system and make it work. We think, given the experience which they have, we should take a shorter period for us to reach that point. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. I take it that was the only supplementary question. Therefore, we shall proceed to question 112. Honorable Minister.
Thank you, Chairperson. This is the response to question 112. The Department of Performance Monitoring and Evaluation has not looked at the extent and the impact of unfunded mandates regarding the performance of the municipalities and provinces. National Treasury has been covering the issue of unfunded mandates in its review of local government budgets and expenditure review for the past years. Chapter 3 of the Local Government Budget and Expenditure Review 2006-2007 to 2012-2013 deals extensively with the issue of intergovernmental relations and the local government fiscal framework. The chapter also deals with various legislation which organizes the system of intergovernmental relations as envisaged in the Constitution, and the issue of mandates and funding is aptly dealt with in that chapter. Currently, National Treasury and the Department of Cooperative Governance are carrying out a joint review of the local government functional fiscal framework, looking at the existing system of functional assignments, e.g. the division of powers and functions between local, district, municipality, and between municipalities and provinces. I thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. Any supplementary question? Oh, Honorable Zimande.
Thank you, Honorable House Chair, and thank you, Honorable Minister. Well, in understanding and agreeing with what you are saying in terms of the work that is done by those two departments, which is also commendable, the persistence on the performance of municipalities and spending on unfunded mandate, and as the FFC indicated in its study, reveals the depth and the massiveness of the problem of unfunded mandate and its negative impact on many delivery mandates that the municipality must have, including infrastructure, the levels of service, and even the personnel that is allocated to these projects. Given that, and your answer, and I guess inferring also from the previous answers that you've been giving in terms of which was clearly demonstrating the role of your department and the presidency, and with the high levels of confidence and trust by our people on your department and the presidency, is there a concerted effort to make a consideration? Because one of the missing links on this matter is the continuous monitoring and evaluation, so that the persistence doesn't continue. So, is there a consideration in your department or by the presidency to also play a role in addition to the interventions that the two departments you've mentioned in your answer do carry? I thank you, House Chair.
Thank you very much, Honorable Zimande. Honorable Minister.
Thank you, Honorable Zimande. There's our department, if we don't manage it properly, there's a great danger that we might end up doing everything. And that is why we are very careful not to just take responsibilities unless if we have been instructed by cabinet or the president. The issue of an unfunded mandate, as I said, the simplest answer for us could have been to say, look, it's not our job, full stop. But I went at lengths to try and explain so that at least we understand. We are currently doing pilot to do an MPAD assessment of municipalities, because municipalities are different from province and national. If in the course of doing our work in that area, we pick up this is a critical issue which actually cripples municipalities and their functionality, we'll definitely raise the matter. But would not, under normal circumstances, go and pick an issue up, even if it's a problem, without properly being mandated to do so. Otherwise, we may end up doing almost everything else on earth. But nevertheless, as I'm saying, if there's a need for us to do that, as a result of this, we'll then go to cabinet or whatever authority to say we think we can be able to assist in dealing with this matter. But for now, we have never done an assessment with regard to the impact of an unfunded mandate and how they make it impossible for municipalities to function properly. Thank you.
Honorable Van Lingen.
Thank you, Honourable House Chair. I would like to ask the Minister about this unfunded mandate. With the audit compliance of local municipalities and their GRAP 17 compliances for unbundling assets and so on, especially the smaller municipalities, they haven't got the funds available to comply with the GRAP 17. And how does one handle a situation like that, or has it been investigated? Because when I asked the Auditor General what audit compliance really cost a small municipality, they said, well, that's a very interesting question. We will do an investigation in that. So will your impact plan perhaps reveal something like this, or how do you suggest we handle it? Thank you, Chair.
Honourable Minister.
As I said, Chairperson, that we are doing a pilot project. We have set up a system for MPAD assessment of municipalities. We are now running a pilot project. Probably in a few months' time, we'll be knowing what are the issues there. If this issue arises as part of that process, we'll definitely tackle it. But for now, we have got no idea. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honourable Minister. I take it that those were the only two supplementary questions. We shall therefore proceed to question 124. Honourable Minister.
This question is also a sister or a brother to another question which was asked to the Minister of Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs. But nevertheless, I will answer a part of it, just to share information with honourable members. The Department of Performance Monitoring and Evaluation has not looked at the impact of monies owed between various spheres of government. Currently, National Treasury is doing monitoring of expenditure and budgets in terms of Section 71 of the Municipal Systems Act 2003 and Section 30, subsection 3 of the Division of Revenue Act 2011. The reports are sent to Parliament to assist its members to perform its oversight role. These reports are available on the National Treasury website. During June 2009, the Department of Performance Monitoring and Evaluation issued a communique to all departments requesting them to ensure that they comply with Treasury Regulations 8.2.3 to pay suppliers within 30 days. This resulted in the National Treasury issuing Treasury Practice Note number 34, requiring departments to report on their compliance with the Treasury Regulation. Together with the National Treasury, the Department of Performance Monitoring and Evaluation has been monitoring the payment of suppliers within 30 days and providing reports to FOSAT, which is the structure of the Directors General, the Cabinet, and the Parliamentary Portfolio Committees to enable them to exercise their oversight responsibility. There are no plans to create legislation or policy framework to enforce the payment of services rendered between spheres of government. The current legislation on the payment of suppliers as provided by the PFMA, Section 823 of the Treasury and Section 823 of the Treasury Regulations and National Treasury Practice Note 34 also applies to payments between spheres of government within 30 days of receipt of a valid invoice. What is critical for government departments and the different spheres of government is to comply with this legislative framework. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honourable Minister. Is there any supplementary question? In the absence of any further supplementary or any supplementary question, may I thank the Minister for availing himself to respond to questions in the House. Thank you very much, Minister and Deputy Minister. Or are there questions that we are expected to take? Okay, they've been covered. Thank you very much, and welcome in any case to this August House. All right. Honourable members, we are expected to proceed to question 103, and I have not been briefed on okay, the Minister, okay. The Minister is not available, therefore, okay, the questions shall therefore now be treated as questions for written reply. Yeah, it's all of them. No. Okay. Then that brings us to the conclusion of questions. The Secretary will read the first, second, fifth, sixth, and seventh orders of the day.
Consideration of report of Select Committee on Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs, oversight visit to Umvoti local municipality, and oversight visit to Abaqulusi local municipality, and the consideration of a report of Select Committee on Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs on intervention in Ditsobotla local municipality, and intervention in Matlosana local municipality, and intervention in Makwasi Hills local municipality.
Honorable Makhobi.
Sharp. Honorable Chairperson, I will make a statement on the intervention, starting with interventions from KZN on Umvoti local municipality and Abaqulusi without hesitation. The committee recommend for House to approve Section 139. The basis of approval is that the committee has observed that the turnaround plan is in line with local government strategic objectives that would want to improve service delivery, infrastructure development, compliance, and LED. Of course, the committee recommended that there should be measurable objectives.
In the light of any province wishing to do that, we shall now proceed. The report is agreed to in Section 65 of the Constitution. Alicia Mukhobi. The Secretary shall now proceed to read the order in respect of the fifth order. It's not only the fifth order. Okay. Honorable members, I'm advised that we should vote per order. So we voted only for order number 1. Therefore, we shall proceed to vote for order number 2. But before we do that, can we first establish as to whether all delegation heads are present? I take it that no one left the House. No. All right. In the light of that, we shall then proceed with the voting, and we shall do that by in alphabetical order. Eastern Cape?
In favor.
Free State? Gauteng?
Voted.
KwaZulu-Natal? Limpopo? Mpumalanga? Northern Cape? Northwest? Western Cape?
Tot voordeel van dit wat die voorsitter gesê het.
Okay. Number. All provinces therefore voted in favor of the report. I therefore declare the report as agreed to in terms of section 65 of the Constitution. Shall we now proceed to the 5th order? I take it that all delegation heads are present. Is there any province that wishes to make a declaration of vote? In the absence of that, we shall then proceed with the voting, which we shall do in an alphabetical order. Eastern Cape?
In favor.
Free State?
In favor.
Gauteng?
In favor.
KwaZulu-Natal? Limpopo?
Say supported, Chair.
Limpopo? Mpumalanga? Northern Cape?
In favor?
Northwest? Western Cape?
Ten gunste.
All 9 provinces voted in favor and therefore declared the report as agreed to in terms of section 65 of the Constitution. We shall now proceed to the 6th order. I take it that all delegation heads are present. Is there any province that wishes to make a declaration of vote? In the absence of any, we shall now proceed with the voting in an alphabetical order. Eastern Cape?
In favor.
Free State?
In favor.
Gauteng?
In favor.
KwaZulu-Natal?
Sivumelana nayo, Chair.
Limpopo? Mpumalanga?
Ondersteun.
Northern Cape? Limpopo? Northwest?
In favor.
Western Cape?
In favor.
Okay. I'm informed that all provinces voted in favor. I therefore declare the report as agreed to in terms of section 65 of the Constitution. We shall now proceed to the 7th order. I take it that all delegation heads are present. Is there any province that wishes to make a declaration of vote? In the absence of any, we shall now proceed to the voting in an alphabetical order. Eastern Cape?
In favor.
Free State?
In favor.
Gauteng? KwaZulu-Natal?
Sisekele, Chair.
Limpopo? Limpopo? Mpumalanga? Northern Cape?
In favor?
Northwest?
In favor.
Western Cape?
Gee toestemming om voort te gaan.
Kom weer.
Gee toestemming om voort te gaan.
Oh, okay. All 9 provinces voted in favor. I therefore declare the report as agreed to in terms of section 65 of the Constitution. We shall now proceed with the business of the House. The Secretary will read the 3rd, 4th, and 8th orders of the day.
Consideration of report of Select Committee on Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs, oversight visit to Bushbuck Ridge Local Municipality, and consideration of report of Select Committee on Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs, oversight visit to Emalahleni Local Municipality, and consideration of report of Select Committee on Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs, intervention in Muma Local Municipality.
Honorable Matila.
Thank you, House Chair. The Select Committee on COCTA, having gone through these interventions, in Bushbuck Ridge, what we have observed is that there was weak institutional capacity, weak international controls, poor financial management, bulk water problems, general weak community participation, irregular use of municipality funds. In this regard, a misuse of 2.5 million rands of the municipality. We therefore, as a committee, recommend that the intervention is necessary and this House must support the intervention. In as far as Emalahleni is concerned, Chair, poor political leadership, corruption and fraud, weaknesses in supply chain management, divisions, infighting on council infections, poor water supply, filthy water, poor service delivery. Every section in the department has a supply management process. Councillors go to the extent where they own water tankers to supply water because somebody else is closing the supply of water in that specific municipality. We also realized that more than 100 cars of the municipality were lost. Nobody knows where they are. What is worse, Chair, is there's also regional intervention into the municipality. When the municipality wants to suspend the municipal manager, the councillors will be given instructions that that must not happen. There is a person that is employed as a CFO who earns 27,000 rand every week, which is a problem. It means the council is properly dysfunctional. There are serious problems, political problems. We believe, Chair, that the intervention is necessary, and therefore, Chair, that the hawks must immediately be called in and the police must deal with as a recommendation, that it must not be done at local level because even the community is now used to that particular process because they are part of looting the municipality, services and everything within the municipality. If that does not happen, Chair, we believe that the province and national government must intervene and dissolve that municipality. But therefore, we say in the interim, the intervention is necessary. 139 might work, but we believe political intervention must not happen, and therefore the intervention is necessary. We recommend that this House must deal with that particular situation. The last municipality, that is the Eastern Cape, Nguma, infighting within and divisions within councillors. We have established that the Speaker and the Mayor are not in speaking terms. One has his own groups. They are like in the Northwest, which is a serious problem. Corruption, the same issues that are happening in Emalahleni is happening in Nguma. In actual fact, they're spending a lot of money on consultants and litigations and all those things. Thirdly, there is a project of 18 million rand, which rose to 68 million rand that was paid. The project was budgeted for 3 years, over 3 years for 18 million rand. Now, in 18 months, they have paid that particular project 68 million rand. It means that there's serious corruption, serious maladministration in that particular municipality, and they've got a capacity to take the provincial and national government to court because they don't want any intervention in that specific area. we recommend, Chair, that there must be political management of the whole situation, that the province and political organizations must move in and deal with that particular situation. But we also recommend that the intervention is necessary to stop that particular process and make sure that the council can function properly. We therefore recommend that all interventions, this House must recommend that the interventions are necessary. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Honorable Matila. That concludes the debate. I shall now put the question in respect to all the honorable members. There's nothing wrong to have a discussion, but may your discussion not interfere with the proceedings. Please. I shall now put the question in respect of the fifth order. The question is that the report be agreed to. In accordance with Rule 71, I shall... The third. Yes, the third order, sorry, not the fifth order. I shall first allow provinces an opportunity to make their declaration of vote if they so wish. Is there any province that wishes to make a declaration of vote? In the absence of any, we shall now proceed to the voting on the question. I shall do this in an alphabetical order. But before I do that, I shall ascertain as to whether all provincial delegations heads are present in the House. Are they present? Yes. In the light of that, we shall now proceed with the voting. Eastern Cape? Free State?
In favor. Voted.
Gauteng? KwaZulu-Natal?
In favor, Chair.
Limpopo? Come again? Oh, electronically? Oh, okay. Mpumalanga? Northern Cape? Northwest? Northwest?
Yeah.
It's on.
It's on. Sam.
Or just stem some. Can you not prat net na di
Okay,
miek tu?
I will support.
They are malfunctioning, these things. Look, this one is still on. They are not functioning well.
Is it changed?
Mics.
Okay. Western Cape?
Stem 100% Sam.
Okay. All 9 provinces have voted in favor. I therefore declare the report is agreed to in terms of Section 65 of the Constitution. I shall now proceed in respect of the fourth order. And the question is that the report be agreed to. I take it that delegation heads are present in the House. Is there any province that wishes to make a declaration of vote? In the absence of any, we shall therefore proceed with the voting in an alphabetical order. Eastern Cape?
In favor.
Free State? Gauteng? KwaZulu-Natal?
In favor, Chair.
Limpopo? Mpumalanga? North Cape?
Stem Sam.
Northwest?
Stem Sam.
Western Cape?
Agree.
All 9 provinces voted in favor, and I therefore declare the report as agreed to in terms of Section 65 of the Constitution. I shall now put the question in respect of the 8th order, and the question is that the report be agreed to. In accordance with Rule 71, I shall first allow provinces the opportunity to make their declaration of vote if they so wish. Is there any province that wishes to?
None.
In the absence of any, we shall therefore proceed with the voting in an alphabetical order. I take it that all delegation heads are present in the House. Eastern Cape?
In favor.
Free State?
Voted.
Gauteng? KwaZulu-Natal?
In favor, Chair.
Limpopo? Mpumalanga?
Voting.
Northern Cape? Northwest?
In favor.
Western Cape?
Ondersteun.
All 9 provinces voted in favor. I therefore declare the report as agreed to in terms of Section 65 of the Constitution. I shall now put the question. No, we are done with the vote. Honourable members, that concludes the business of the day. The House is adjourned.